Hello everyone, welcome back to another session with me. I'm Sanyukta Saxena and this is the Zentangle Inspired Art currently running series in which we have already done 7 sessions and today is the 8th one. Let's get started with today's session, and what I have done on this piece of paper is drawn a big circle, right? As you can see with the pencil I have drawn a big orb, and now I'm going to start drawing some segments just like we draw for Moth, the tangle Moth. So I'm going to start creating some haphazard, just random segments closely occupying each other, just like continents floating on water, just like we draw for the tangle Moth. Yeah. So that is what I am doing here, and I'm going to fill the entire circle in this fashion, right? Just randomly creating sections, land floating on water just like continents, whatever you want to imagine it, not thinking where, what, how, just segmenting the circle randomly. Yeah, small, big, I'm not thinking about anything, just creating sections or eyeing the last one with which it is sharing a side very closely, sticking to the outer periphery of the circle, not crossing that. Yeah, somewhere you have to limit your drawing, so staying within the circle. Take your time. You need not copy the way, you cannot in fact copy the way I am doing it, so just randomly create sections. Yeah, do not worry much about how, just aura the sections closely the way I am doing. That's what you have to follow as far as creating the sections is concerned, just like we do for triply, just that here the sections are not triangles but random, and the last one here, and we are done, right? So once we are done with that, the outer I am going to stick to the tangle Moth, right? So let's see if we can do something new with Moth also, right? So I'm just going to add some random fescues here, delicate ones, right? And then start drawing the lines. So you can extend your fescues as much as you want, and then you can start drawing the lines. So this part of the lines are perpendicular, and then just start rotating, go with the shape, add a little weight at the end. You can also break the lines. I did an entire series dedicated only to Pangea and Moth. This kind of a grid is called Pangea as far as Zentangle headquarters is concerned, and what I am drawing now is Moth. These are both Zentangle originals, a recently released tangle by Zentangle headquarters, and they are real fun to draw. These strokes are very familiar, very common, however the way they are placed is a bit different. Yeah, so I'm just going to do that. We'll see if we want to add some weight here and there, right, later. So let's start again. A little bit of weight here would help, right? Again, going to draw some fescues. randomly, not thinking how. Real brittle ones, delicate ones. Yeah, and then again start drawing the lines. You can add a little pen pressure as you start the line. I'm still learning wearing the pen pressure. Keep looking at Maria, the way she uses her pen. Right? Ideally, there should be a little more pressure as you start the line, and it will add little character to your simple lines also. But that comes with practice, I guess. Yeah, not everybody can do it. So I'm just adding little weight here and there, and we shall see, right, what else do we want to do a little later. So starting again, right, take your time, and then start drawing the lines once again. Right, so I'm going to do the same exercise for all these corner blocks, right, on the periphery of the circle. So continuing with the same activity, drawing my moths, the tangle pattern moth all around the circular shape. Take your time. Be patient. Slowly add these lines. All around the C shape. Right? And then you can add some nice random fescues. Right? And the last one, so you start with this C shape and then you start drawing lines surrounding the C. Adding a little weight at the end of the lines, drawing a small V kind of a shape and then just inking it in. Yeah, and then you can just go with the fescues, random, crinky, not thinking where, how, right? So we are done with that. Now let us move to the center section. Now what I am going to do is start drawing a marasu. So I am drawing the curl of the marasu, the spiral, and then I'm going to draw it between sections, right? Let's see how it works out. So maintaining the in-between spaces, not crossing the line, giving it a broken kind of a look, right? Simple exercise, just not crossing the line. Yeah, probably one line here. Yeah. So let us now create those sections. Take your time. Double lines, dissecting my marasu, ensuring that the lines don't fall under each other, preferably, but not necessarily. They may, right? So don't bother, just keep going. Divide your marasu into sections. Right? And then going to the next layer. Take your time and slowly do that exercise. Just ensuring that I don't draw the lines exactly under each other, right? That's the only thing I'm keeping in mind as I draw these lines. Somewhat equal in size, but not necessarily again. These are not rules, these are just suggestions to draw a tangle in a certain fashion. If you do, good. If you don't, you just created a tangulation. So be happy about it. Yeah. Keep going. Enjoy the process. If you want, you can add 2 layers and then add some other tangle also. But I wanted to see how does it look like. Right, so I purposely divided the entire space using marasu. But you can always go with something else in few of the other layers or the other spaces that you have, right? Yeah, I think we are done with dividing, right? So now let us get started and let's start to ink. I would go with inking because that is what adds the, but probably I will go with my brown or burgundy pen. Yeah, so if you have your brown pen or burgundy pen, please use that. You can also use your brown. So I'm now starting to ink but leaving a highlight there. Like this, right? In between spaces we'll see if we want to add something else. First I'm just going to slowly ink the alternate sections. Yeah, so take your time and do that exercise slowly for all, sticking to the original here, right? So moving on to the third section. Spaces are small, so you have to be careful that you don't cross lines. Take it slow, go slow, skip one section, again ink the next. Original Tangle Marasu, the first two letters of three sisters of Maria, including Maria. Yeah, so that's how the tangle has been named randomly, nothing to do with its look. So now here I have the first line, so I'm not going to do anything inside those lines. I'm going to maintain it as it is. Yeah, please ensure that you don't cross any lines even as you color or ink. Yeah, so this will require a little bit of attention, so do that slowly. Go to each section. You have to give the highlight also, and you have to ensure that you don't color the entire space, so be careful, right? So this one I'm going to leave empty. Again here a little bit of color like this, not much, right? So take your time, and I'm going to do that slowly for all. Yeah, so I am still in the process of inking the alternate sections, almost finishing with it, getting into the small little sections now, left here and there. Right, so take your time and carefully ink alternate sections. If you don't want to use a different color ink, still it is fine, don't worry about that, it will look nice anyways. Yeah, so I think we are done as far as the inking is concerned, right? So something we will add to the ends also, we'll see what, probably we will use these ends as, you know, for poke roots or poke leaves, something like that. Let's see what do we want to do with it, or we can add an outline throughout, just adding a little bit of weight. Add the turnings, right? So I'm first going to start to shade, and then we'll see if we want to add something else, right? So shading, I want to first highlight each of these sections, right? So the sections that I created, I'm first going to, wherever possible, add some graphite to highlight that section, right? And then we will see if we want to add more to Marasu. Yeah, so not shading the Marasu as such, first shading the section, highlighting the Pangea grid. Yeah, so there is no need to add where you have the inking done, right? So I'm just skipping those areas just going with adding my graphite on the white portions. Yeah, so trying to highlight the grid rather than highlight the marasu. We will highlight the marasu also, although we have done that bit of highlighting already with the way we have inked, right? We have left a highlight there, but the further shading will depend on, first we will highlight the Pangea, and then if required we will get into shading our marasu. Yeah, so I'm just adding on the whites. Take your time, slowly go to the each of the sections that you created. Right, so we are done with that. Now let us blend. So slowly spread the graphite. If it is not required, then leave the white highlights the way they are. Only if they are just coinciding with the corner, I'm going to add graphite to it. Otherwise, I will leave the highlights the way they are. Yeah. So let's blend all of them. Make sure the divisions, the partitions don't turn gray. So they are small spaces, right? If you have a pencil eraser, something like this, right, you can use it to clear it off, right? Or you can just carefully blend so that the in between spaces do not turn gray. Yeah, take your time and gradually go to each section and blur the graphite. So now that I've highlighted my Pangea, right, I'm now going to add little touches of shading under some of the lines, right? Not all. Where I can, just going to add some touches. Right, so it is basically the center one where you can add a little shading. Make sure you don't make the entire thing gray. The whites should be visible. Yeah, take your time and slowly visit each of these sections. Right, so we are done with that. Now moving on to our moth. Good idea to highlight this place from where the fescues are emanating and the bottom. Again, make sure these in between spaces are prominent. Take your time. Add that shading to your moth. right? So I'm just going to do the same for all. Almost done with the exercise of shading my tangle moth. Yeah, again using my pencil eraser, clearing up the in-between gaps. Yeah. So now one small thing that we can do is re-emphasize these lines. So I am going to go back to each of these and redo them so that I highlight the grid. You can also use your brush pen at the edges to highlight the darkness a little more, but that is entirely optional. You may not do that. Sorry. Right? So I'll do that quickly. After you shade, redoing certain lines, revisiting them is always a good idea. Adds a lot to the tangling. Right? So we are done redoing the lines, right? Now I'm going to add a outer aura, and if we want to do something more, we can do that now, but that is entirely up to you. If you want to do it, you can extend it a little more, or you can stop here. Yeah, so I'm just adding an aura, close aura, like this. And now I'm just going to probably add 1 or 2 layers of fescue and auras. Random fescues. You can also leave it like this and not do anything else. Even that would look nice. Yeah, entirely up to you. How do you want to go about it? Take your time. So you can either leave it like this, add some puffs, or you can just aura it 1 or 2 times, right? Or just leave it like this. Anyways, it is going to look nice. Just adding that bit of weight to the V. Yeah, so I think there is nothing required. Probably I just go with one aura. Close aura. Take your time. I'm simply auraing the fescues that I drew around my circle. Just going with the shapes as they are. Outlining them as they are. Not adding anything else. Just pure aura. Take your time. That's it. Right? So I'm not going to do anything else. I'm going to stop here and just add a little of brush on these lines where there was not much scope to shade. I'm just adding a little darkness with my brush pen, just using the tip. Right. Now these white sections, if you wish, you can add a little embellishment. Always nice to add some black pearls here and there, but it's entirely up to you. Right? If you want, you can do that. If you want, you can totally do away with it. That's fine. Right? So if you are drawing a black pearl, a little shadow is a good idea. Wherever you have some space. Right? So that's about it. I'm going to close it here. My chalk. Right? And I shall see you again with another new session. Till then, have a good time. Bye bye.